Ever notice your horse knows how you feel before you say a word? That's no accident. Horses are emotional geniuses, able to sense, remember, and respond to human feelings with stunning accuracy. In this video, discover 10 powerful ways your horse reads you better than most people can. Get ready to see your horse like never before. Number 1. They read micro-expressions we miss completely. Horses possess the ability to detect the tiniest facial changes that escape human notice entirely. While we might think someone looks perfectly calm, horses can spot the subtle tightening around the eyes, the barely perceptible downturn of the mouth, or the slight tension in the jaw that betrays true emotional state. Karen's team has made the surprising discovery that horses have 17 different facial expressions. That's 3 more than chimpanzees and 1 more than dogs. But more importantly, they can recognize these same subtle expressions in human faces with remarkable accuracy. Research conducted at the University of Sussex showed that horses can distinguish between happy and angry human facial expressions in photographs, even when the expressions are so subtle that many humans would miss them. When shown images of unfamiliar people displaying different emotions, horses consistently showed more stress behaviors and increased heart rates when viewing angry faces compared to happy ones. The most fascinating part? Horses remember these emotional expressions. When the same horses later met the people from the photographs in person, they approached individuals they had seen with happy expressions more readily than those they had seen with angry expressions, even though they had never actually interacted with these people before. This ability to read and remember micro-expressions gives horses a significant advantage in emotional intelligence that most humans simply don't possess. We're often fooled by someone putting on a brave face, but horses see right through these emotional masks. Number 2. They detect heart rate changes from a distance. One of the most extraordinary abilities horses possess is their capacity to sense changes in human heart rate and breathing patterns from several feet away. This isn't supernatural, it's biology at its finest. Horses have evolved incredibly sensitive hearing that allows them to detect the subtle changes in our cardiovascular system that occur with different emotional states. When we're anxious, our heart rate increases and our breathing becomes shallower. When we're calm, our heart rate slows and our breathing deepens. Horses can hear these changes before we're even conscious of them ourselves. Studies have shown that horses' own heart rates will synchronize with their human companions, particularly those they trust most. This phenomenon, called cardiac coherence, demonstrates that horses are not just reading our emotions, they're literally feeling them with us. This ability serves horses well in the wild, where detecting the stress levels of potential threats could mean the difference between life and death. With humans, this same skill allows them to provide comfort precisely when we need it most, often before we even realize we're distressed. The practical implications of this are profound. Horses used in therapeutic settings have been observed to approach clients who are experiencing emotional distress, even when those individuals are trying to hide their feelings from human therapists. Number 3. They interpret body language we don't even know we're displaying. While humans focus primarily on facial expressions and verbal communication, horses are masters at reading the subtle language of the body. They notice the slightest changes in posture, gait, and muscle tension that betray our true emotional state. When we're confident, we naturally carry ourselves differently than when we're anxious or sad. Our shoulders sit differently, our stride changes, and even the way we hold our head shifts with our emotional state. Horses catalog all of these subtle variations and use them to understand exactly how we're feeling. He's sniffing the ground ostensibly, and you think, oh, he's just sniffing the ground. Another horse was in here, but stop. Actually, that sniffling the ground again occurs consistently in response to something that's a bit more negative, so that he's unsure about this. Humans do that as well. You know, when we're a bit uncomfortable, you might scratch yourself, or we glance away from something. Just gives us a little bit of time to adjust. Research has shown that horses can predict human behavior based on body language cues that are completely unconscious to us. They know when we're about to move in a particular direction, when we're feeling uncertain about a decision, or when we're trying to project confidence we don't actually feel. This remarkable ability extends to reading the body language of multiple humans simultaneously. In group settings, horses can identify which person is the most anxious, which is the most confident, and which poses the greatest potential threat, all from subtle postural cues that escape human notice. Number 4. They sense emotional energy fields. While this might sound mystical, there's solid scientific evidence that horses can detect the electromagnetic fields generated by human emotions. Every emotion we experience creates measurable changes in our body's electrical activity, and horses have evolved the sensitivity to perceive these changes. The HeartMath Institute has conducted extensive research on the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart, which extends up to 8 feet around our bodies. This field changes dramatically based on our emotional state, becoming more coherent when we're calm and loving, and more chaotic when we're stressed or angry. Horses appear to be naturally tuned into these electromagnetic signatures. They respond differently to people based not just on what they see or hear, but on the actual energy field surrounding that person. This explains why horses often react to someone's emotional state before that person has even approached close enough for traditional sensory input. Studies have documented horses becoming agitated when brought near people experiencing high levels of emotional turmoil, even when those individuals were sitting quietly and showing no outward signs of distress. Conversely, horses often seek out and position themselves near people who are generating calm, coherent energy fields. This electromagnetic sensitivity may explain why horses are so effective in therapeutic settings. They're drawn to work with individuals who need emotional healing, often positioning themselves to provide comfort before anyone realizes that comfort is needed. Number 5. They read scent changes associated with emotions. Horses possess an olfactory system that is far more sophisticated than our own, and they use this enhanced sense of smell to detect the chemical changes that occur in our bodies when we experience different emotions. When we feel fear, anxiety, anger, or joy, our bodies release different combinations of hormones and neurotransmitters. These chemical changes alter our natural scent in ways that are imperceptible to humans, but glaringly obvious to horses. Research has shown that horses can distinguish between the scent of a person who is calm versus one who is stressed, even from clothing or objects that person has touched. They respond differently to these scent signatures, often showing signs of alertness or concern when detecting stress-related chemical markers. This chemical communication system works both ways. Horses also release their own emotional scent markers, and humans with close relationships to horses often report being able to sense their horse's emotional state through subtle changes in their natural smell. The practical applications of this ability are significant in both training and therapeutic contexts. Horses can detect when a person is trying to hide fear or anxiety, allowing trainers and therapists to address underlying emotional issues that might not be apparent through other means of assessment. Number 6. They mirror and amplify human emotional states. One of the most remarkable aspects of equine emotional intelligence is their ability to not just read our emotions, but to mirror and amplify them back to us. This creates a feedback loop that can help humans become more aware of their own emotional states. When we're calm and centered, horses often become calm and centered as well. When we're agitated or fearful, horses may become restless or alert. This mirroring effect serves as an emotional barometer, giving us real-time feedback about our internal state that we might otherwise ignore or suppress. Now this will be interesting. Look at what part of the face he's going to go to. Look, he's going towards the right to the mouth. Mouth, yeah, and sometimes they go right up to the eyes. Yep. It's interesting, that sweep between the mouth and the eyes. It's almost as if they understand that the mouth and the eyes are the most significant bit of the human face. But horses don't just mirror our emotions. They often amplify them. A person who is mildly anxious might find their horse becoming significantly more alert and reactive. This amplification effect forces humans to confront emotional states they might prefer to ignore, making horses incredibly effective emotional teachers. Research in equine-assisted therapy has documented numerous cases where horses have helped clients recognize emotional patterns they were completely unaware of. The horse's behavioral responses serve as a mirror, reflecting back the client's emotional state with startling clarity. This mirroring ability extends beyond simple emotional matching. Horses can also offer emotional regulation, helping anxious humans find calm or encouraging withdrawn individuals to open up emotionally. Number 7. They recognize emotional patterns and predict behavior. Horses possess remarkable abilities to recognize emotional patterns in humans and use this information to predict future behavior. They learn to associate specific emotional states with particular actions, allowing them to anticipate human responses before they occur. A horse might learn that when their human arrives with a particular combination of body language, scent, and energy, certain activities are likely to follow. They might recognize the signs that indicate a good training session versus a day when their human is too distracted or stressed to work effectively. This pattern recognition extends to long-term emotional trends as well. Horses often notice when their humans are going through difficult periods in their lives, adjusting their own behavior to provide appropriate support or to avoid adding additional stress. They're capable of putting together the sort of representation of the person with the emotion. To me, that shows a very acute emotional awareness. This sophisticated level of emotional intelligence allows horses to serve as both barometers and predictors of human emotional states. In therapeutic settings, horses have been observed changing their approach to clients based on subtle shifts in emotional patterns that occur over multiple sessions. They might become more gentle with someone who is working through grief, or more energetic with someone who is emerging from depression. This predictive ability also extends to recognizing when someone is approaching an emotional breakthrough or crisis, often positioning themselves to provide support at exactly the right moment. Number 8. They respond to emotional contagion more effectively than humans. Emotional contagion, the phenomenon where emotions spread from one individual to another, is something horses navigate with remarkable skill. While humans often struggle with emotional boundaries and can become overwhelmed by others' emotions, horses seem to have mastered the art of emotional empathy without losing themselves in the process. When a human is experiencing intense emotions, horses can absorb and process these feelings without becoming destabilized. They feel the emotion, understand it, and respond appropriately, but they don't get stuck in emotional states that aren't their own. This ability makes horses incredibly effective emotional healers. They can meet someone in their emotional space, provide the comfort or grounding needed, and then return to their own emotional equilibrium. Humans often struggle with this level of emotional regulation, either becoming too disconnected or too overwhelmed when faced with others' intense feelings. Research has shown that horses in therapeutic settings can work with multiple clients experiencing different emotional challenges throughout a single day without showing signs of emotional fatigue or confusion. This emotional resilience, combined with empathetic responsiveness, is a rare combination that serves both horses and humans well. The implications for human emotional development are significant. By observing how horses handle emotional contagion, we can learn better strategies for maintaining our own emotional balance while still being present for others in need. Number 9. They use emotional intelligence for survival decisions. In the wild, the ability to read emotions isn't just useful, it's essential for survival. Horses have evolved to make split-second decisions about whether other beings, including humans, represent safety or danger based on emotional cues. This survival-honed emotional intelligence gives horses an edge in accuracy that humans, who rely more heavily on cognitive processing, often lack. While we might rationalize away our gut feelings or misinterpret social cues, horses trust their emotional readings and act accordingly. When horses encounter a new human, they're instantly processing multiple streams of emotional information to determine that person's intent, emotional stability, and potential threat level. This assessment happens faster and more accurately than most human evaluations of the same situation. The survival imperative has also taught horses to read group emotional dynamics with extraordinary precision. They can identify which member of a human group is the most confident leader, which person is fearful and might make poor decisions, and which individual poses the greatest potential danger. This evolutionary advantage in emotional reading has been refined over thousands of years, making horses remarkably accurate judges of human character and intent. Their assessments are often more reliable than our own conscious evaluations of people we meet. Number 10. They process multiple emotional layers simultaneously. Perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of equine emotional intelligence is their ability to process multiple layers of human emotions simultaneously. While humans often focus on the most obvious or loudest emotional signal, horses can detect and respond to the complex emotional cocktails that make up our real internal experience. They have enough understanding to interpret not only emotion in the face of their own species, but emotion in our faces. It makes sense that horses use emotions to communicate with each other, but what fascinates me is they can read our emotions as well. A person might be presenting anger on the surface while feeling hurt underneath, with traces of fear and confusion mixed in. Horses can detect all of these emotional layers and often respond to the deeper, more authentic emotions rather than the surface presentation. This multi-layered emotional processing allows horses to see through defense mechanisms and emotional facades that might fool other humans completely. They respond to who we really are emotionally, not who we're pretending to be. In therapeutic contexts, this ability has proven invaluable. Horses often cut straight through to the core emotional issues that clients are struggling with, bypassing superficial presentations and defensive strategies that might slow progress in traditional therapy settings. The sophistication of this emotional processing rivals or exceeds human capabilities in many situations. While we might get confused by mixed emotional signals or manipulated by emotional facades, horses maintain clarity about the authentic emotional reality they're perceiving. If your horse demonstrates even half of these remarkable emotional reading abilities, you're experiencing one of the most profound interspecies connections possible. Cherish it, learn from it, and never underestimate the emotional wisdom of these magnificent beings who have chosen to share their lives with us.